Doubting Thomas, a journey to faith. Chapter 1. The darkest hour setting. A dimly lit room where the disciples are gathered in fear. Narrator. The disciples sat in silence, their hearts heavy. Jesus had been crucified, and hope seemed lost. Peter, how could this happen? We believed he was the Messiah. John, but Mary said she saw him alive. Others, murmuring, confused and doubtful. Thomas off screen, entering the room. What are you all whispering about? Chapter 2. The astonishing news setting. The disciples eagerly share their news. Peter, Thomas, you won't believe it. We have seen the Lord. Thomas, laughing nervously, what? That's impossible. John, it's true. He appeared to us while you were gone. Thomas, crossing his arms, unless I see the nail marks in his hands and put my finger where the nails were, I will not believe it. Chapter 3. The weight of doubt setting. Thomas sits alone, deep in thought. Narrator. Thomas had always been cautious. He wanted to believe, but how could someone rise from the dead? Thomas, thinking, what if they're just seeing things? I saw him die with my own eyes. Flashback. Scenes of Jesus' crucifixion, nails driven in, the tomb sealed shut. Chapter 4. The gathering setting. The disciples meet again, doors locked in fear. Andrew, the Pharisees are watching us closely. We must be careful. Thomas, still doubtful, looking around, yet you all believe Jesus is alive. Peter, not just believe. We know. Suddenly, a bright light fills the room. Chapter 5. The moment of truth setting. Jesus appears in the middle of the room. Jesus, smiling, arms open, peace be with you. Disciples, gasping, falling to their knees in a Thomas, stumbling backward, eyes wide in shock, and my Lord. Jesus, Thomas, come closer. Chapter 6. The proof before his eyes. Jesus, place your finger here. See my hands. Reach out your hand and put it into my side. Stop doubting and believe. Thomas hesitates, then touches the wounds, eyes filling with tears. Thomas, my Lord and my God. Chapter 7. Face beyond sight. Jesus, smiling kindly, because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. Thomas, nodding, overwhelmed with emotion, I was a fool to doubt you, Lord. Disciples, cheering and rejoicing, hugging Thomas. Chapter 8. A changed man setting. Thomas, now full of faith, shares his testimony. Thomas, I doubted, but now I believe. Jesus is truly risen. James, your story will help others believe too. Peter, we must share this news with the world. Chapter 9. The Great Commission setting. Jesus speaks to his disciples before ascending to heaven. Jesus, go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation. Thomas, clutching his chest, determined, I will go wherever you send me, Lord. Jesus, smiling, ascending into the clouds, I am with you always, to the very end of the age. Chapter 10. The legacy of faith setting. Years later, Thomas is seen preaching in distant lands. Narrator. Thomas traveled far and wide, sharing the story of Jesus. No longer a doubter but a firm believer. Thomas to a crowd, you may not see him with your eyes, but have faith in your hearts, and you saved.